Jamaat al-Hijr wa Takfir, before he went into prison and in prison, was influenced by the writings of Sayyid Qutb. So had it not been out there in the public domain, then we could question the validity of criticizing it in the public domain. But it is out there. Do we say somebody makes a mistake, ascribing it to the religion of Allah, that we remain silent? Or do we say somebody makes a mistake and we address that mistake, clarifying the people what is Islam? And I think we all agree that latter has to be the case. As Al-Imam Malik rahmatullah alayhi said, everybody's statement is accepted or rejected except for the inmate of that grave. And he pointed to the grave of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so, say Qutb, myself and anybody else, if we make a mistake, publicly especially, about Islam, then it has to be addressed publicly so people don't fall into that mistake. As we know, for over the last 20, 30 years, say Qutb's books have been published, they're going into 20th, 30th edition, people have not criticized them, and young people are reading them and making the same mistakes and coming to the same conclusions that he did. I hope that answers the question, inshallah.
We're going to have last question.
Can I just ask, you didn't answer the question whether you had read the book?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, sister, because you made a number of statements.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So I tried to write some of them down. When I first became Muslim in 1990, I used to be a member of an organization called JIMAS, Jama'iyya Ihya Minhaj al-Sunnah. And in this university, well before you guys were here, mashallah, just here in the corridor, we used to sell books. It's changed a lot, this university. It's back in the 90s. Maybe what, 1990, 91, we used to sell books. Amongst the first people to sell books, we used to sell Bukhari, we used to sell Muslim, Abi Dawood, and a whole collection of different books. We used to sell them there. I think it was every Wednesday. Part of the staple reading of Jama'iyya Ihya Minhaj al-Sunnah at that time was the books of Sayyid Qutb. And yes, at that time I read Milestones. It was staple reading, everybody read it. Everybody read it. And other books by Sayyid Qutb and books of Hassan al-Banna. We read those books. And other books by Sayyid Abdul Allah Mawdudi's books as well. And none of these books, we read all those books. So when we speak about Sayyid Qutb, it is not to denigrate him or to lessen his status in the eyes of the Muslims, but rather to address the things he said that were incorrect. And we as Muslims, we don't get caught up in personality cults. The personality, this person, that person, whom we see is unreproachable. Very much like we see today with the young people. If you were to say, talk about Jay-Z, Kanye West, Notorious B.I.G., Tupac Shakur, becomes a big argument. Just a simple statement. Tupac raps better than Jay-Z becomes a big argument. These are personality cults. We don't have them in Islam, where we respect people of knowledge, we respect the honor of a Muslim. However, if that person makes a mistake, it is our duty to clarify the mistake. Not meaning to denigrate or put the person down, but to show people what he said or what he did was incorrect. I hope that answers the question, inshallah.
Take one more question. We'll allow Brother Mahmoud to ask a question.
I want to ask a question. Say for example, you're a young person and you want to get married, right? And then obviously your family start organizing the wedding for you. Then obviously the organisation consists of music in it, and there's a lot of around things which isn't really part of Islam. And what would you do if you're in that kind of situation? If you're in that kind of predicament, how would you get out of it without going against your whole family?
Generally speaking, I am not a scholar to give any Islamic legal ruling. But what I will say is, Allah has told us in the Quran many times, you hear and obey your parents in that which is obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You do not obey them in that which is disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But upon you, as you know your family, is to speak to them in the best way and the best mannerism, and learn for yourself also the reasons why certain things are not allowed in Islam, that you can make it clear to them. But then you show them in the best way that as a Muslim, some practices we're not allowed to do, and these are from them, and here's the evidence. This is not from myself, but this is from what Allah and His Messenger ﷺ has placed forth for us. And you do it in the best way. And if you still find trouble, then you speak to maybe the Imam of your masjid, someone who is respected. Because sometimes the parents find it hard to listen to their children. So you get someone, maybe you have someone else in your family who is more religious, who can aid you in this also. And you seek all those means of help, and if you can get the people of knowledge to speak to your family, then you do so also. And I hope that answers your question. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Brothers